Here in Athens, Sport Club has the pleasure of speaking to Dimitris Karidas, legendary Greek basketball journalist who has been following the Greek basketball since 70s and 80s and has been one of the people to experience the whole time that Željko Obradović has been the coach, the legendary coach of Panatinaikosa, and all the multiple successes that coach Željko Obradović has had with the team. So he is the person that will definitely help us explain how big the impact of Željko Obradović is to Panatinaikos and to the whole Greek basketball in general. So welcome and thank you so much for speaking to Sport Club.
It's my pleasure too. So the impact of Željko Obradović is probably obvious. If you are going to count the titles, the dynasty that he built around here in that stadium, in that arena, and also speaking about the perfection of a team. During a span of 15 years, actually 13 years with Željko Obradović, Panathinaikos won 6 European titles. But for me, that I'm not a Panathinaikos fan, I'm a dedicated basketball person. The impact of Željko Obradović to the Greek basketball, it's something bigger than the titles or building a dynasty. Back to 90s, at the end of the 90s when he first arrived here, or after a few years when he started to coach Panathinaikos, if you are going to a lower division game, second or third division game, you're going to see all the coaches using Željko Obradović systems, the pick and rolls, the switching defense, things like that Obradović introduced to Panathinaikos and working his system till perfection. But the impact is that he brings a know-how, a new philosophy, a new coaching philosophy, and probably till today, or probably tomorrow, there are still coaches that are using Obradović systems to lower division teams. Also, he brings the mentality of a championship here. Panathinaikos was a great team even before the arrival of Željko Obradović, but they didn't have the know-how situation to win titles or to build a dynasty. And then he came, for sure, he found back then the perfect situation here, a carta blanca in financial terms. He has almost budgets that never ended. He could ask for anything. And also, it's a story that probably not too many people knew, that the last week before his arrival in Greece, before his signing in Panathinaikos, the Greek newspapers, the Greek media told stories that it was half and half for Tanjevic and half for Obradović to take the job to Panathinaikos. It was a close fight, a close race. But then one night, Pavlos Giannakopoulos, the late owner of Panathinaikos, pulled the trigger and told Obradović. And Obradović had some special rules to his first contract with Panathinaikos, because Pavlos and Thanasi Giannakopoulos, the owners of Panathinaikos, had the team at their daily agenda. They involved to almost everything to the team. Not only they paid the bills or the budget, they involved to everything.
They call it micromanagement.
Yeah, micromanagement, you can say that. And Željko Obradović put to his contract a rule that no one from the team, from the front office, from the ownership, will go into the locker rooms, will travel with the team, and that's his own territory. Your job, told to the president, is to pay the bills, to create the budget, and all the others, it's my job. They respect it. So Obradović created or found here a perfect situation. And he hit, like the perfect storm, the Greek basketball. And also, that's not the point of our conversation, but back then, exactly at the same time, was here the late Dusan Ivković. So you can say for sure that there was a strong Serbian influence to the Greek basketball alongside Ivković and Obradović. Okay, probably Obradović was a little bit more successful than Duda, and he had a bigger influence. But cut the long story short, till today, the influence of Želimir Obradović, the fingertips of Želimir Obradović to the Greek basketball are obvious.
Right.
Not only to Panathinaikos.
Okay, and you told me, so what was you explained pretty much the situation of how it was in Greek basketball before Željko arrived. So, and you told me that the some members of the media were in favor of Tanjević coming to Panatinaikos and some in favor of Željko Obradović. But would you say that the beginning of his tenure in Panatinaikos was hard? Would you say that he had huge pressure coming in, or as you said, he had complete support of the Koppel's family?
I don't know. You have to ask him, because I don't know what's been pressure for Želimir Obradović. Except the time of a game, you never see him in pressure, or at least you will understand that he is in pressure. I never thought that he's in pressure. I'm sure that he never read any Greek newspaper or heard. He knew everything. But I'm still sure till today that he never cared. He never cares about that. He never cares what I wrote or what another guy wrote or said to the TV or things like that. His main focus was only the team. He had hard times, yes, that's true. Because even at the end, close to the end of his first year at Panathinaikos, he had a fight at the locker rooms with Fragiskos Albertis, a legendary player, the captain of the team, and probably the most famous Greek player of the team back then. It was before the arrival of Diamantidis. But he worked his way. Even when we heard about the fight at the locker rooms of Daphne Arena, a small arena in Athens, after a Greek league game, he never punished in public Fragiskos Albertis. It was like nothing happened. I don't know what's going on between them, but their relationship was great after that. I don't know how he used it. Also, too many players of Panathinaikos told during all those years that, of course, he was very demanding. He was a very demanding coach, but he never used bad words. He will stop the training. He said few things, probably with a little bit tricky. With tricky words or with a tricky
double meaning, maybe.
Yes, probably. But he never told things that was against the personality of his player, and everyone had great relationship with him. But he was also very demanding, because if you are going to see a practice of Želimir Obradović at Panathinaikos, he let me sometimes to take a look to the practice. And he could stop the practice even for 10 points, because a player walked 10 points right or left, and he was not standing exactly at the exact point of the court that he wants from him. But that was the story of Panathinaikos and Obradović. He had the money, he had the budget, he had the perfect situation, and he could work his system till perfection.
I understand. And you mentioned Albertis, Diamantidis later. So during that time, the 13 very successful years, many generations probably have passed through Panatinaikos. So what do you think are some players that you would highlight in that regard, that Coach Obradović had the best relationship with them and saw them as the leaders of the team?
That's a hard question, because Obradović always choose the player. He had a strong nuclear. He created a strong nuclear. He didn't have a strong nuclear. He created that nuclear of players. And then he put some things every summer, 2 or 3 new things, not rebuilding the whole team. That probably was against his success, against the success of the team. So he decided who will be the leader, and he keep the leader for years, not for one season. I'm not sure, but I'm not sure for that. Probably he could tell you more about that, not me. But I think that I tend to believe that during his year at Panathinaikos, he had bad relationships at the end of their playing days at Panathinaikos with only 2 guys, Lakovic and Spanoulis, not with anyone else. Okay. I don't think so. And probably it was matter because they left the team, not because they left the team, because probably they are spoken together, and he thought that something different could happen, and they never left the team. That was the main point. It was not personally, you know what I mean? It was not me and you. Never Željko was me and you. Not even with the press, with the players, with the management, with nothing. It was just business, just business.
I understand. And out of the European titles, the EuroLeagues that Željko had won with Panathinaikos, would you say there is a special one that he maybe worked extra hard in order to get, some that you would maybe think of before the other ones when talking about his time?
In my mind, there is one game that he was excellent. I would never told in public that a coach won a game. Always the team won. Not even Željko likes to hear that. Never mention that the coach or a player won the game. It was a teamwork, but it was one night that he was even better than himself. It was the night of Orthodox Easter at Bologna, back to 2002, the final of EuroLeague. He won that game with a big plan, a masterpiece of coaching against all odds. No one gave a chance to Panathinaikos to win that Kinder Bologna. Remember what kind of powerhouse was Kinder Bologna at their home. And they won with a great second half, and it was all of Željko. That was, I believe that was the game of his life at Panathinaikos, the final to Bologna. Last answer to your question will be yes, because Chris told me that I gave you long answers.
Don't worry about it. Long answers are perfect.
You can cut it.
Don't worry about it.
We are doing the same job. You can cut it.
It's all good.
And to play 2 minutes of that.
Okay, good. And during Željko's time in Panathinaikos that we've been talking about, there have also been other Serbian players also that have been significant for the success of Panathinaikos. One of them being Dejan Bodiroga, legendary player of Yugoslavian national team. So what is today's opinion of Greek basketball fans about Dejan Bodiroga?
I will tell you for sure what was the opinion back then for Dejan Bodiroga. Because when Bodiroga came to Panathinaikos, changed the rules of the time of offense from 30 seconds to 24 seconds. And Obradović decided to keep Bodiroga at the team because he played always at the top of the key with the ball at his hands. It was like a point forward, you can say. And everyone told that, okay, maybe he is wrong, because the basketball is changed. It's gonna change, and someone need a faster guy. It's 24 minutes, 24 seconds offense, not 30 seconds. Bodiroga is a guy for 30 seconds, not for 24 seconds. And during a trip at the beginning of the season, I asked Obradović, and I told him, why you decide that? And he told me, why not? And I told him, because it's blah, 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 blah. Bodiroga is a little bit slower than the usual players. It's at 24. And he told me, I don't care if Dejan is fast or slow, because the ball travels faster when he passes the ball, or it's faster, the ball is faster than his legs. So no problem. And he won it, almost everything with Dejan. He was right.
Okay. And obviously Dimitris Diamantidis, legendary Greek basketball player, would you say is in some ways the heir of Bodiroga, or somebody who continued the tradition of such a player in Panatinaikosa?
Yes. And building a connection between Diamantidis and Mike Batiste, the famous pick and roll of Diamantidis and Batiste, was another one thing that showed us the vision that he had for basketball. Because Diamantidis came to Panathinaikos as a number 2, as a shooting guard, not as a point guard. Back then, Diamantidis was probably one of the worst three-point shooters that you could see at the Greek league. He had something like 15% at the three-point shots. Batiste, no one probably remember that, but Batiste, before coming to Panathinaikos, when he played his first years in Europe, in other leagues, in other countries, he was a number 3, a small forward. And somehow he envisioned to his mind, to his basketball mind, that Diamantidis was the perfect point guard. At the other end was a number 5, Batiste, and create that combination that became almost famous, bring titles, and it was something like the most common thing, Diamantidis to Batiste. That's always the most common thing that you can heard back then to Panathinaikos games.
Excellent. And also, now that you mentioned Mike Batiste, he was obviously one of the best players in EuroLeague during his prime years. So do you think he could have, but the same works also for Diamantidis, do you think the two of them could have tried the NBA at one point of their careers? Or would you say they were not ever interested in it, such as Bodiroga, who also never tried?
I tend to believe that Bodiroga, Diamantidis, Obradović, and Batiste was exactly at the same chapter, at the same page of the book about NBA. They don't care. Because they was very comfortable in Europe, in Panathinaikos especially, because they stayed at Panathinaikos the better years of their careers, all of them, or their whole careers for Diamantidis, except the 2-3 first years at Iraklis. And they don't care to go to the NBA. They don't have any need to go to NBA back then. It was not now. Probably now it was another matter of conversation. But back then, they had the biggest, every one of them had the biggest contract in Europe at their positions. They was well paid. They was in an organization that gave to them everything. They won titles. Probably they was happy. Why try something else? Why go to the NBA and try something that it was a little bit strange, probably a little bit difficult, a new world, another country, another continent, another way of life. I don't know. But Diamantidis never cares, never spoke about that, never. Batiste was and had small stints trying to play to the NBA, but in Europe, he was one of the better centers in EuroLeague history. Bodiroga was legend in Europe. Why try something else? I don't know. And for Željko, for sure, it's obvious.
Makes sense. And so you now, told how big the influence of Željko Obradović obviously is to Greek basketball and to Panatinaikos fans especially. So could you explain a little bit what is the, or actually during the time when he was the coach, what was the reputation of Željko among the Panatinaikos fans? So that must have been a huge respect and love that they had for him during those years when Panathinaikos won.
They loved him. End of story. Full stop.
Okay, makes sense. Yeah, that's maybe it describes it the best.
They just loved him, nothing else.
And what about now? 10 years later, basically, Panathinaikos hasn't had the same success, obviously, since Obradović left. So, how do the Panathinaikos fans look back now to the years of dominance during Obradovic's time?
Just told you what happened in Greece last summer, 2 summers before he signed with Partizan. Željko was here for personal reasons. He was in Athens because sometimes he came back in Athens for personal reasons, not for basketball-related stories. But then someone saw him at the Kolonaki Square and started to the social media and told stories like, Željko is back, Željko will come back. Panathinaikos was without coach back then. And it was before the agreement with Dimitris Karidas, the Greek coach. And that was amazing. In the Greek Twitter, for 10 days, or maybe 15 days, it was the #1 topic of conversation. And everyone told, Željko come back, Željko will come back, Željko is already back. And if someone else, fan of Panathinaikos or even not fan of Panathinaikos, told that I don't believe that Željko will come back, he was the most hated person in the Greek Twitter community. That's told you what still is the impact of Željko in Panathinaikos fan. But I told you, in the whole Greek basketball community, he's a very respectable person. Very, very.
Excellent. And in the meantime, obviously, there were other coaches, including Coach Pitino, who was also a coach of big personality. So would you say that in some cases he resembled maybe Obradović, obviously not when it comes to the results, but would you say that maybe some coaches after him in some ways tries to emulate what Obradović did in
Listen, in terms of personalities, speaking in terms of personalities, not of course for results, because you know all the story, what's happened 10 years after the departure of Željko Obradović to Panathinaikos. I could tell you that only Rick Pitino could overshadow somehow Želimir Obradovic's personality, but Pitino is another story. It's a totally different story because he came from another world. He's another kind of person. He's very open person. It's other things, not compatible. There is no any comparison between them because Pitino is an American guy. He spent his whole life, mostly of 4 decades at the NCAA. It's another world. It's like someone came from Mars to the Earth. That was a big difference, and it was even a shock for the Greek basketball that Rick Pitino was here and speaking to us. But Željko is, it's something more closer to us. You know what I mean? It's someone, it's the coach of next door. It's not someone that came from NCAA, a legendary coach, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. It's just Željko.
Yeah, somebody from the Balkans also.
Yeah, for sure. That has also something to do with how perfect he fit here. He created good friendships in Athens. He still has good friends here, devoted friends, people that he never met before Panathinaikos. And I know at least 3 or 4 persons that when he worked at Fenerbahce, 3 or 4 times per year, goes to Istanbul without playing Panathinaikos, just to meet Željko. Or he came back sometimes of the year in some periods that he has days off, to meet his good friends. He likes the way of life in Athens, that's sure. Still he likes it. So it's like, I don't know, probably he came as a Serbian and he became a Greek Serbian, not speaking in terms of nationality and things like that, but in habits, in the daily life. And you know, Belgrade is not so far away than Athens. And I'm not speaking about flights, I'm speaking about the way of life.
Right, understandable. And generally, what is the attitude of Greek basketball fans and journalists and Greek basketball public towards Serbian basketball? Because somehow throughout the history, Serbia and Greece, or Yugoslavia back in the day, were always somehow connected and rivals. And we saw something similar to that this summer also in the Belgrade World Cup qualifiers, when basically quite possibly the two best players on planet played each other during the game of Serbia and Greece. So what is the opinion of Greek basketball public towards Serbian basketball?
That's too hard, because we are speaking for different generations and for different situations. When I first started to work, 43 years before, too many Greek coaches made some travels to ex-Yugoslavia just to take a look to the practices of junior teams and how, and I believe that too many Greek coaches for young players take a lot from Serbian or from Croatian coaches back then. And then they bring here the system of ex-Yugoslavia to create players, basketball players. Then, during the years of the Civil War in ex-Yugoslavia, too many players came here to found a job, to found a new life, away from the ashes of the war. Many of them became Greek citizens. And they are still...
Greek names also.
Yeah, for sure. They are still here. Too many of them. They are still here. But that was also something that helped Greek basketball a lot. So we became familiar with the Serbians, not only because of, the same religion or because we are close, but because there was a big import of players here. And too many of them was not far away in habits or in the way they spoke as the Greeks. We are almost the same, you can say. There was also a rivalry between the national teams back to 90s, an almost hated rivalry, because always the newly created Serbian national team was a big wall for the Greek national team, and that was a problem. I don't like to remember what happened here in that arena during the final of '95 Eurobasket. That's a sad story. That's a sad story. Imagine that Serbia here in Athens, in that arena, stopped the Greek national team twice from being once probably a European champion, and then the second one to '98 to be a world champion. That was too much to afford. Right. Not in my mind, I'm speaking about the Greek basketball fan. But then, and that connected with our conversation, the arrival of big-time coaches here, like Duda, like Zoc, or even other Serbian coaches like Dragan Sakota, to mention one, or Vlado Djurovic, changed the situation. They was like ambassadors of the Serbian basketball here in Greece. And because the coach, okay, we have the stars players, everything. But the coach is like the first thing that you can see in a team, the first that will spoke in public. And that create a little bit more connection between the two basketball communities, the Greek and the Serbian basketball communities. Right now, everything is okay. I don't think that there is any kind of rivalry between the national teams. The atmosphere back to Belgrade was great during the game that you mentioned and played Jokic and Giannis at the Tokom. I don't think something, but it was like, there was like waves. The relationship of Greek and the Serbian basketball had some waves, ups and downs, but I'm speaking about past years, not now. Now everything is okay. I don't see something wrong. I don't see something wrong.
Okay, and you said now this calmer period, so to say, of Serbian-Greek rivalry when it comes to basketball. How would you rate the state of Greek basketball at the moment, both on the club level, so you have two EuroLeague teams, but also on the national team level, having also failed to win a medal, such as also like Serbia in the previous Eurobasket. So how would you rate the situation at the moment on these two fronts?
Everyone predicted last summer that the final gonna be Greece against Serbia, but okay, doesn't matter. I don't know. It's hard to evaluate the Greek basketball right now. We have two big names clubs in EuroLeague like Olympiakos and Panatinaikosa. The Greek national team is going to the right direction with Itoudis at the bench and with a new front office at the Greek Federation, with Nikos Zisis responsible for the Greek national team. But that's what you can see. Even you, a foreigner, you can see that probably the conclusion is that everything is well for the Greek basketball. But I don't think so. At the second or the third level of Greek basketball, first of all, there is amazing difference between Olympiakos, Panatinaikos, and all the other teams. It's like all the other teams does not exist in the Greek league. It's like playing just for the program. And also, we have a big problem in players' production. I'm speaking about the younger ages. I don't know how is the situation in Serbia or in other countries, so and so, but here it's not so well. I don't know why, because we have an almost a system that belongs to another century, not in that century, and we didn't change it for 35 years, and that was out of time, it's out of our time, it's not something modern. We have big problems. Also, you can see that Giannis Antetokounmpo is one of the better players in the planet, like Jokic, but he played just 2 years or 3 years in Greece, actually, organized basketball. He became famous, legendary, playing basketball at stage, not here.
Yeah, he's more like a product of the U.S. basketball than not maybe more, but to a big extent a product of American
But
basketball.
actually, he rocket sky his career at the stage. I don't know what's going to happen if Giannis stayed here and played for one Greek team. Probably the story could have written different. Okay. I don't know.
Right. Also, one more question that I have is regarding Giannis Papapetrou, who is now a Partizan player. So he is also has a huge reputation here in Panathinaikos, being the ex-captain and for many years a fan favorite of the team. So what is now or not necessarily now, but during that time, what has been the reputation of Papapetrou in the green part of Athens?
I can tell you for sure, because Papapetrou career was a little bit adventurous. He played first for Olympiakos, and then when you change sides in the Greek basketball, I don't know if it's happened the same with Partizan and Red Star, but probably it's the same. But when you decide, the player or a coach decide to change sides, it's not so easy. It's not an easy decision, but he took that decision because he wanted to be a leader in a team, not just a player of the team, to be the leader of the team. He came here, he was the leader of Panathinaikos for 2 not so good years for the team. Probably that had an impact almost to all of the parts of the team, all the parts of the team, all the players, the coaches. When a team loses, it's not so good for everyone. And right now, he's going to Partizan to change the pace of his career. I'm not speaking with Giannis the last few months or weeks, but I believe that his decision to play for Partizan is strongly connected with Željko Obradović. That he believed that gonna be a better player under Željko Obradović, no matter what his role gonna be in the team. How the fans of Panathinaikos felt about the departure of Giannis, I can tell you. We'll see tomorrow what's going on. I'm not sure. I can tell you for sure. I can tell you for sure what's going on. Always in those situations, there are some people that love the players, some others that they hate the players. I don't know.
Okay.
Who's gonna be the most? I can tell you for sure.
Thank you. And just for the end, just if you can maybe give your comment on the Coach Radonjić start here in Panathinaikos, the start of the season. At the moment of us speaking, Panathinaikos is 1-4 in the EuroLeague and also winning some game in the national championship. So, what is the current situation of the Panathinaikos under Coach Radonjić?
I'm one of those that believe that any new coach must have one thing, not 2 things, one thing, time. But Panathinaikos, unfortunately for Dejan Radonjić, it's not fair for Dejan Radonjić, that's a good coach, a very good coach, don't have the time because there are too many years out of Final Four. They had the legacy, they had the reputation, they are a brand name of European basketball, and always they need to win right now, not after a few months. I'm sure that if Dejan Radonjić will have the time, if they will give him the time, he will create a very, very, very good team.
That happened in Crvena Zvezda as well.
Yeah, but he's still a foreigner here. Probably still he's learning what is a basketball team like Panathinaikos, the way of life in Athens. Still things like that are smaller things than the whole picture, but are very important for a person that came for first time in a country to work. And I believe that and I hope that he will have the time, he will create some miracles here. But it's matter of time, it's not matter of coach. Everyone knows that Dejan Radonjić is a very good coach, has a very strong and well-created philosophy about basketball, and he needs time. If he's lucky enough, he will have plenty of time. If not...
Okay. Thank you very much for your wonderful answers.
Need one untold story about Željko Obradović?
Please do.
Never heard it in Serbia.
Excellent. I have time for...
No, it will be short.
Okay.
With what means short for me, not for you.
Don't worry about it.
Back to the summer of 2007, there was big hopes at Panathinaikos that Panathinaikos gonna win the European title, the EuroLeague title, because the Final Four scheduled to play in Athens, so at home with fans, the Greek fans, etc., etc., etc. So Pavlos and Thanasis Giannakopoulos was always on fire in those situations. Someone told Thanasis Giannakopoulos, the late co-president of Panatinaikosa, that there is a big player in United States that will be the next leader for Panatinaikosa. The guy named Tony Delk,
Okay, I know.
ex-Kentucky player, and a very good NBA player, that he was without contract. And Thanasis came to Željko Obradović and told, Coach, please do me a favor. I never asked you nothing for almost 10 years. You have all the players that you want. No one bothers your job. You decide who will play at the team, but please bring Tony Delk. I will pay for him. And Željko simply didn't want Delk, didn't want a player like Tony Delk. He was a great player, a great person, but he didn't fit exactly at the system of Željko Obradović. And he told, no, I will not take Tony Delk. And Thanasis told, please, coach, take Tony Delk. Do me a favor, please. And after pressure of 10 or 15 days, one day, Thanasis Giannakopoulos, he was extremely open person, came very happy to the arena and told to Željko Obradović, Coach, I signed the contract with Tony Delk without the agreement of Željko Obradović. And Željko Obradović told to Thanasis Giannakopoulos, okay, you will pay him? And Thanasis told, for sure, I'll pay for everyone. And told him, okay, for me, gonna be a bench player. He will not play at Panathinaikos. He will stay at the bench, but okay, you are happy? He will be at Panathinaikos. And Panathinaikos paid almost $1 million to Tony Delk.
Back in 2007.
Back to 2007, yes. Maybe more than $1 million, I'm not sure. I don't remember exactly the contract he had with Panathinaikos. He played less than half games and less than 10 minutes per game, only some occasions of garbage time and things like that. Actually, he played not a big role to Panathinaikos at this season, and that showed to us what kind of person is Želimir Obradović. Anyone else gonna say, yes, why not? They bring me a player of $1 or $1.5 million from United States, from NBA, a famous ex-NCAA legend. And okay, that's an upgrade for the team. But always he believed to his system. During one interview, many years before, he told a monthly magazine in Greece that, and it was the cover of the magazine, that was the title of the interview, My Way. And he explained during the interview that I have one way, my way. I don't know. If it's not good, my way, okay, let's go, fire me. The team can fire me, but I have only one way, my way. And that was exactly his way to the Delk story.
And it resulted in winning EuroLeague.
Yeah, at the end of the season, for sure, with a player of $1 million benched. He didn't even play at the Final Four, if I remember well. I'm not sure for that. He didn't play a minute to the Final Four of Athens when Panathinaikos won the title of EuroLeague. I'm not sure for that. I have to check it. But he won it. He won everything that year without Tony Delk, having just for as a cheerleader Tony Delk.
Okay, excellent. Thank you so much for your answers. It's been a pleasure.
Me too.